Puppetry Museum Quiz, an engaging question and answer game in Dutch and in English relating to international folk puppet theatre and associated arts. An online and offline puppet theatre question and answer game. Learn more about folk and mainstream puppet theatre in 24 questions. Discover the wide range of puppetry techniques. Listen to various sound clips and meet comical characters. The Puppet Theatre question and answer game can be played in the Puppetry Museum as well as on other locations. The quiz can also be viewed and heard online and played on a PC, a laptop with or without a touch screen, a tablet, or a smartphone. Puppet Theatre computer game. The Puppetry Museum Quiz is a jolly, educational, farcical and light-headed question and answer game about folk and mainstream puppet theatre and various puppetry techniques. By means of a series of sound clips, texts and images, you are making a journey through the wondrous world of puppet theatre. In a playful manner, 24 view and search tasks introduce you to the wealth of possibilities in international puppet, figure and object theatre, and with regards to visual theatre and associated arts. Puppet theatre names, characters and concepts. The quiz uses a great variety of words, including names, figures and concepts in the field of puppet theatre. These words range from monkey, constable, hand puppet, mask, puppets on the shelf, marionnette à la planchette in French, shadow, rod puppet, and marotte to words like commedia dell'arte, trumpeter, Don Quixote, Faust, Pinocchio, and Prince William II of the Netherlands. Puppetry stage. Each task is accompanied by an inviting image in front of a puppetry stage. A theatre window with raised curtains. The message is clear. The show can begin. The numbered boxes to the left and the right of the puppetry stage can be tapped and are linked to the questions. The theatre decor consists of an exterior puppet theatre situated in green pastures with trees, flowers, and passing clouds. Puppetry Museum Quiz Instructions. Tap on the touch screen with your fingertip. The game can begin. Then tap on any numbered box and on the correct answer. The sound of the puppet theatre bell and a green check mark will indicate that the answer was correct. If the answer is wrong, a red cross will appear and the sound of young Klaassen hitting his club can be heard. Mistakes can be corrected. 3 arrow icons under the puppet theatre stage. The arrow pointing to the left, return to the previous question. The arrow pointing up the center, play the game again. The arrow pointing to the right, continue with the next question. Tap on check after the question's been answered. If the answer is correct, by tapping on a puppet theatre picture with a corresponding Dutch text appears. Solution to the quiz. If all questions, 24, were answered right in a comic strip about the adventures of traditional Dutch puppet theatre figures can be seen, such as young Klaassen, Mr. Punch, holding his club, his wife Katrijn, Judy, and the baby, the Constable General, the executioner and his gallows, and death. Applause.
Klaassen was trompetter in het leger van de prins. Hij marcheerde van den Helder tot den Briel.
1. Jan Klaassen and Katrijn. There is a story about a trumpeter named Jan Klaaszoon who lived in the Netherlands and served as a guard under Prince William II of the Netherlands. After William's death in 1650, all the prince's supporters, who were known as Orangists, were discharged from the army. The same fate befell our Jan, who went to the city of Amsterdam, where he became a puppeteer. Jan Klaassen has a way with words and a good sense of humour. He has no fear of anybody or anything, except for his wife Katrijn, called Judy in England. Whose daughter is she, according to Jan? Ottepoetje? Old Mother Hubbard. Two. Props. European hand puppet theatre makes use of standard objects such as a frying pan, a rolling pin, sausages, and a little box. In puppet theatre, most objects are far too big in comparison to the puppets, while others are far too small, such as the tiny gallows. These contrasting sizes have a comical effect. The leading character in puppet theatre is holding a club between his tiny hands. Wielding this weapon varies from rhythmically hitting his opponent's heads to prodding their belly. What is the prop called that Jan Klaassen uses to hit the crocodile? Carpet beater, broom, club. 3. Constable. Mr. Policeman is not the sharpest tool in the box in puppet theatre. He always loses from Jan Klaassen or Mr. Punch, both in words and actions. After a sound thrashing, the constable's lifeless, defeated body is slumped over the theatre stage. In Hanneschen Theatre, a traditional puppetry theatre in Cologne, Germany, the Hauptwachtmeister, constable, is a rod puppet. His German name refers to his bushy moustache. What's the name of this moustached German constable? Schnurrbart, Polizist, Schneuserkowski, Seamus.
Komt hier al bij en hoort een klucht, het is vampier lala. Een drollig ventje vol gerucht, de vreugd van zijn papa. Wat in zijn leven is geschied, dat zult gij horen in dit lied. Het is al vampier lala, haha, het is al vampier lala.
4. The Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper, Dood Vampier Lala in Dutch, is one of the characters in traditional Dutch Jan Klaassen puppet theatre. He silently arises in the puppet theatre. After Jan has insulted the Reaper by calling him bony legs, his neck starts to grow until his head, with its hollow socket, towers high over Jan Klaassen. It even extends outside the puppet theatre. What is the other Dutch name for this rod puppet? Pierrot? Dood Vampierlapotlood? Big Brother? Mr. Sandman. 5. Devil. The devil is a ghastly figure. He is always giving the leading character a hard time, who usually outsmarts him because he has no fear of anybody or anything, including the devil. In puppet theatre with Jan Klaassen's German cousin Kasperl, a magician puts a disappearing box on the stage. After saying his magic spell, Perlika, devils jump out of the box, and they disappear again when he shouts Perlaka. In Czech marionette theatre, the people of hell crawl through a hole in the stage. What is the name of the creep who appears on stage surrounded by fire, smoke, and lightning? Factotum, Dupak, Lucifer, angel. 6. Now you see me, now you don't. Now you see me, now you don't is what the old showmen used to shout when they closed their peep box after their show in the fairgrounds. Famous people and battles were displayed in these peep boxes or peep shows. The box can be regarded as the predecessor of the television, popularly called gogglebox, the computer, and the tablet. An Old Dutch word for the peep box is piepshow, peepshow, rarekiek, rarishow, kijkdoos, showbox. Seven. Dancing Man. Dancing Man is a small skipping toy puppet who is showing his tricks on a shelf. The puppeteer is situated at an angle on the end of it, with the longest part sticking out from under his upper leg. The small wooden figure is held above the shelf by means of a rod that's stuck in its back. Its little feet almost touch the floor. Rhythmically hitting the shelf with the fist of his other hand, the puppeteer causes the shelf to vibrate. It makes the puppet's feet go up and down, which sounds like a tap dancer clicking shoes. His legs can swing back and forth, and his little arms are rotating like the sails of a windmill. What is the German name of this little dancing figure? Mr. Stepper? Jumping Jack? Hampelmann? Stepptänzer. Eight. Puppets on the shelf. Puppets on the shelf, marionnettes à la planchette in French, are figurines with a horizontal string running through their chests. One end is tied to a rod that is attached to a horizontal shelf, and the other end is knotted around the puppeteer's knee. The performer is also a musician. The puppets start dancing when he moves his leg to the beat of the music. What is the name of the figurines that are moving by means of strings attached to a crossed stick? Jumping Jack puppet, string puppet, marionette.
Yar bana bir eğlence medet. Ah yar bana bir eğlence aman aman aman.
9. Ombre chinoise. During the 18th century, travellers from China brought back stories about lanterns, in which shadow figures moved because of the rising hot air of candles. This is how in Europe the name ombre chinoise, Chinese shadow puppets, originated for shadow play. The flat cardboard figures are moved against a tightly stretched, elongated white fabric screen. A light source, such as a candle, light, or oil lamp, is placed between the screen and the performer. From which country does the humpbacked shadow figure Karagus originate? India, Turkey, Japan. 10. Wayang puppetry. Wayang means shadow. The word comprises puppet and shadow play, dance and masquerade. The gamelan orchestra is an indispensable part of wayang kulit shows. The orchestra consists of gongs, xylophones, flutes, a drum, and stringed instruments. Singing voices are also essential. The dalang is the puppeteer and leader of the orchestra that sits behind him. He moves all the wayang kulit figures, speaks their parts, sings and narrates the story. The dalang is seated cross-legged behind the shadow play screen facing the audience. Wayang performances usually last all night and always concern the struggles between good and evil. The wayang kulit figures are made of wood, buffalo hide, cardboard. (11) Bunraku. Bunraku is the name of traditional Japanese puppet theatre. The figures are moved by 3 puppeteers dressed in black clothes who are visible on stage. The face of the puppeteer who operates a figurehead can be seen. What are his assistants' faces covered with? A black mesh face cap, a top hat, a mask, a balaclava. 12. Actor. An actor is someone who performs on stage or in a film. While acting, they make use of their posture, mimics, sounds, and gestures. But their voice usually also plays an important role. An actor is not necessarily a human being. It can also be a puppet, for example. A puppeteer can be compared to a director or an artistic leader of a theatre company, with the advantage that all his actors and other belongings usually fit in a single case or chest. In ancient times, there used to be a farcical character called Maccus, a role performed by comedians. The most famous city for farces, a comedy with entertaining situations that are highly exaggerated, extravagant, ridiculous, absurd, and improbable, involving Maccus, was Attilam, a Roman city not far from Naples; Athens, the capital of Greece. 13. Commedia dell'arte. Pulcinella, one of the Zani, comical servant characters from the Italian Commedia dell'arte, is the forefather of many European central characters in national puppet theatre. Several figures from this form of folk theatre have been given a permanent role in puppet theatre, such as Colombina, Arlecchino, Pierrot, and Pantalone. Pantalone is very stringy and rich. He has a goatee and wears long, close-fitting trousers, which makes him the name-giver of this style of trousers, pantaloons. The picture shows 3 figures. The white figure wearing a black half-mask is Pulcinella, with Harlequin sitting on his right hand. The figure with a walking stick is Pantalone, Paprika Janci, Petrushka, Pickle Herring.
les ficelles, tire les ficelles, ton polichinelle te tendra les bras. Tourne la baguette et ta marionnette penchera la tête et te sourira.
14. Polichinelle. The French polichinelle can be recognized by the bumps on the front and back of its body, his brightly colored costume, and his tricorn hat. This theatre figure originated in the 17th century. Polichinelle was not only a funny character on stage, but also the main character of French puppet theatre. In old prints, Polichinelle is often depicted as a jumping jack. In past centuries, children loved to play with such toys. The puppets they played with were usually made of paper or pantin, paljas, punch, scapino. 15. Doctor. In folk puppet theatre, doctors usually pretend to be more knowledgeable than they actually are. Mr. Punch, the main character from English puppet theatre, is very cruel. He kills everyone who gets in his way, but almost kicks the bucket himself. He is lying supposedly lifeless on stage, screaming, "Doctor, please help me, I'm dead." The physician promptly arrives, but as he leans over to examine Punch, he gets kicked. The doctor retaliates by giving Punch an effective remedy by beating him with a stick. But Punch returns the remedy, and the doctor gets the worst of it. In an old French puppetry story, Dr. Purgon, after the French word for purging, prescribes a laxative agent. What object does the doctor use to administer this enema? A cross stick? A syringe? An enema syringe? Quoppo. Puschinellen. Puschinel is the name of the traditional rod marionette from Antwerp. The puppets are operated from the top. The performances involve a lot of fights with numerous deaths, an amount of torsos, limbs, puppet heads, and weapons piling up on the stage. In the past, the audience sometimes got so carried away by the story that they no longer noticed the difference between fiction and non-fiction. They interfered with the action, pelting the traitors with apple cores and chewed bits of carrot. What is the collective name of folksy characters such as the nose, de neus, the squinter, de schele, and the hump, the bult, in the Puschinelle puppet shows from Antwerp? Ragbags, voldebalen, punks, scoundrels, villains. 17. Pinocchio. Pinocchio's life starts as a wooden puppet, but eventually becomes a boy. As soon as his head has been carved, he starts to talk. And once he got feet, he runs away. Pinocchio is punished for his mischievous behavior. For example, his nose starts growing when he's telling lies. Mr. Geppetto is standing to the right of the paper theatre depicted below. Marionettes are dancing on the small stage. What talking animal can be seen sitting on the roof of the theatre? A damselfly? A cricket? A parrot? A wasp? 18. Dr. Johannes Faust. Faust, the main character in Goethe's masterpiece, a German poet, playwright and novelist, is a man of many ambitions. When he finds out that all the scientific knowledge he has acquired does not help him any further, he resorts to magic and alchemy. Then he meets the devil, who tempts him into selling his soul to him in exchange for his know-how. This legend was told and performed as early as the 16th century. Performers in Central Europe used to include Faust in their stage and puppet theatre repertoires, and still do so today. It used to be real folk theatre, and its folksy nature is demonstrated by the scientist's servant, who's portrayed as the witty and smart Hanswurst or Kasperl. What is the name of the devil with whom Faust flies away? Mephistopheles? Fitzli-Putzli? Beelzebub? Hell Spirit. 19. Don Quixote. In The Ingenious Knight Don Quixote of La Mancha, a novel written by the Spanish writer Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra, which was published in 1604, Don Quixote is attending a puppet show. He gets so carried away by the show that he believes everything is real. Grabbing his saber, he attacks the Moors who are holding Melisendra, Charlemagne's daughter, captive in a castle. The puppeteer shouts, "Stop it, sir! These Moors aren't real! They're merely cardboard figures!" The puppeteer's name is Master Pedro, Sancho Panza, Ali Baba. 20. Teun Hox. Dutch visual artist Teun Hox is the tragicomic leading character in his own work, always acting the little chap who ends up in the strangest situations. Teun wants to amuse the viewer with rebuses or give them food for thought. Before Teun starts taking pictures, he first captures his ideas in sketches, which he then recreates in his studio. Next, he actually steps into the decor of his drawing and takes a black and white picture of it. At a later stage, the photograph is painted over in color, taken again in color, colored in, filmed.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my way.
21. Stage set photography. Around the 1980s, stage set photography became popular, in particular in the Netherlands. This involved the photographer playing with reality and imagination, or rather recording a situation with his camera that he had stage managed himself. The photograph becomes an isolated image, like a work of art. Dutch photographer Henk Tas populates his fantasy world with every type of creature from mass and pop culture. He presents us a fairy-like plastic world. The Pinocchio figure depicted by him is standing opposite Elvis Presley, Snoop Dogg, Tom Jones, Neil Diamond. 22. Erwin Olaf. The work created by Dutch visual artist, photographer and portrait photographer Erwin Olaf is often bizarre and provocative. The photo shows a jester with a cap and bells on his head, holding an old-fashioned telephone handset and a jester's staff with young Klassen's head fitted onto it. What is a different name for the prop in the jester's right hand? A jester's staff? A marotte? A magic wand. 23. Ex libris. An ex libris is a small print or decorative label that's pasted into a book. Generally, the picture refers to the owner's name, hobby, or profession. The picture shown here is based on the Puppetry Museum logo. The small figures situated on the left and the right in the logo are the Dutch Jan Klaassen and Katrijn, Punch and Judy in England. What is the paper-wasting Jan sitting on in this ex libris? A throne? A toilet bowl? A sofa? A chair? (24) Dutch Puppetry Museum Theatre website. Browse www.poppenspelmuseum, poppenspelmuseum.nl for information about international puppet theatre. Next tap on Extra News. The old Dutch Jan Klaassen and his wife Katrijn are holding a discount coupon. What is the name of the forefather of the European puppet clowns? Pulcinella, Alecchino, Pierke, Hanswurst.